Hello, I do apologize for being slightly late. I was actually chewing a copyright strike on YouTube and I got distracted. So that's a new thing that happened. Welcome and welcome. We're gonna be talking about NodeRED and we're gonna be playing with NodeRED Live as usual on Friday. Hope you're looking forward to it. And today I have an interesting, maybe interesting for me. I don't know if you're gonna find it interesting, but we're going to work with the data from text files. Why are we working with the data from text files? Well, the answer is on the table. So I'll explain what I was trying to do and how I was trying to achieve this, and we'll try to figure out whether we can do it in a live stream. So that is the plan, and that's what we're gonna do. So without further ado, let's jump into my desk for a moment. Now, this is a remarkable device. Well, it's called remarkable device. It's a good device. Uh, I'm just getting a link for you. Remarkable. This is a good device, which I'm using for work mostly. So if you're interested in this and you have a budget for it, because it's a little bit pricey, you can acquire one yourself. And what's so cool about it is that you can do funky stuff like use a calendar PDF. You can generate a calendar PDF and you can use it. And I have one in here, and I'll show you why this is pretty cool. So you can see the calendar is here. It's generated one for 2022. Obviously, it's an e-ink display, and you can do funky. Oh, this is a highlighter. I didn't want a highlighter. It's called fine liner. It's going to be better, right? You can do funky stuff like. Here you go. There's some funky stuff in here. But let's zoom in for a second. So we could talk about a couple of things, and I'll explain how this links into the today's tutorial. So one of the cool things about the PDFs on Remarkable is that you can use internal linking to do pretty cool stuff. For example, I can go to my December view. Oh, sorry, I need to do it with a finger. Let's get rid of that. Can I? Yeah. So I can go to the December view and it'll take me to a December site. But if I want to, for example, check what's on the 17th of December, I can jump into the December and I'll have information on 17th of December. So it's all linked together and I can jump from page to page this way and I can, cross the dates out like this and jump between the different months, etc., etc. And the information that I'm writing in here obviously it's going to be stored. So this is a great thing. But one of these cool things with this calendar in particular is the ability to customize the build process. So this is not a PDF that you just simply throw in and you have those things pre-designed. Like, for example, I don't know, someone doesn't run or reads the books like I have in here the position. Can you see this? Let me zoom in even closer. So for example, what if I don't read books and I don't run or whatever? Then those fields are completely useless. But this is called a reCalendar, and you can generate different stuff. So what you can generate what goes in here. You can also go to the week view. Let's go to the week view. And you can generate stuff that is here. So you can generate text labels that will basically show you what you could, I don't know, plan for a week. If you have a schedule, for example, I have for the last 3 weeks, I've been having this NodeRED tutorial in here, and I could have this that every Friday at 9 p.m. I have my NodeRED. So I can generate that, and that's going to be like in a nice little text, not me writing every Friday that I have this on. So another good thing is that if we're going to go, let's go all the way to January, right? So let's go to the year. You will see that some of the dates in here, they have squares, and the squares are corresponding to special events. So for example, on the 16th, I have imaginary calendar day. And that got me thinking, would it be nice if instead of manually populating it, because I have to manually populate those dates in a configuration file for every single date, so that if I have, I don't know, let's say I have 200 dates in my calendar, I'll have to make manual entries into a document to populate these and say, like, I don't know, this is like, I don't know, a Katie's birthday. And if I wanted to generate this for every day, for every birthday on my list, I'll be here forever, and this is not how I want to spend my time. I'd rather spend my time with you guys and try to do it using NodeRED. So let's leave the remarkable in here because we're not going to need it right now, and let's jump back to my website, and I'm gonna show you a principle of what we're gonna be doing. So, when you go to GitHub for reCalendar, which was kindly written by this author in here, you will notice that there are instructions. Now, we're not going to get into the instructions. I might have a separate tutorial about it, but you'll notice that you can make a local configuration file, which looks like this. Now, and this configuration tab, you'll notice that on the 16th, there was this imaginary calendar day. Let me just zoom in that a little bit so you can see it better. So I could populate the calendar in this format, and for each day I wanted to have, I don't know, a birthday or maybe my Friday live stream or something. I could populate this. So there is a couple of ways you can do it. You can either populate this with entire day events, so that was the one that was highlighted on the top. You can also add stuff that repeats every on a specific day of the week, and the stuff that repeats on a specific hour of the day as well, and those would be present on selected days. So we're going to basically import my calendar and try to get that data from calendar, exported calendar, into NodeRED and create events, and for every event we will try to generate that kind of structure, so then you can just simply copy and paste it into your config and use that with something. So it's obviously you're going to learn quite a bit of tricks with this, because it might apply to your calendars, it might apply to all the data that you want to import to NodeRED and use this way. So that's it. That is the plan. That is the plan, guys. Let me just also quickly jump into social media and let everyone know that the stream has started, because like I said, a copyright strike made me forget. We are streaming. There you have it. And share now. Okay, sorted. So back. So in order to get this, we have to take a look at the calendar. And I already prepped some stuff. So you will notice in here, if you export a calendar, your calendar events look like this, right? If you go to your Gmail, you click on settings and export, you'll notice that there is a lot of things in here. And to make my file, my sample file, a little bit easier to work, I've actually used a couple of different events. So if I'm going to open my calendar, can I open my calendar? I probably can. So let's open my calendar, and I need to switch it. Okay, let's open my calendar, and you'll see that I have some test examples in here. So I have a test Wednesday, I have a third Thursday of the month, I have one that goes, well, basically repeats itself every X day, etc., etc. So I have a different events that will be needing us to have a different types of that entry. So we'll be capturing these and try to figure out how to apply formatting, etc. So back to my file. Where was my file? My file was here. So you'll see that when you export the calendar, you can open it as an ICS format, and you can open it with a text file. So this text file, can we make it bigger? Can I make it bigger somehow? So so each event will start with begin, and begin the event, and end with the event. So this is your one event. There's another one in here, and there is another one in here. So that's how they're going to be presented in your file. So what we're going to do, we're going to determine what is the best way to capture that information, keep it in NodeRED, and maybe swap it into an object or JSON that you can actually start using in a more sensible way. So we know that, so what we know and what we want. Out of this, there's a couple of things I want. I want to have a start. and I want to probably have the end of the event just in case I have a longer event, or if the event starts a whole day, it will give me that information here. So if you see, this is a 2017 11/13, that's the date. Then we have a time zone and the information about the time, right? And also, what else we have? We also have a summary. So this is what it's going to say in your event type. And what else we have in here? And that's pretty much it from that. So let's take a look at another event in here. So this is same. We have the same values in here. And we have a Suffolk bonfire. I've been to Suffolk last week, and that's the past event. And now we have also, this is one of the test events, the month test, and you'll see that this event has a rule. And in the rule, we have that this event happens weekly and repeats itself on Tuesday. So that was the event that happens on Tuesday, and we have the information about it. It's a Europe time zone, etc., and happens at 10 o'clock, I think, till 3. I've said it's 10 o'clock till 10:30. Sorry. So that's the information, and for you'll notice that the rule will reflect your behavior of your calendar event. So basically, you're creating an event based on start and stop, and then you have a rule that defines how this event repeats. So we're definitely going to be working with this. And in addition to that, if you have a description, we might actually want to pull the description as well, just in case you want that information to be present. So that's how we're gonna be working with this text. Now, in order to have this text processed, for this tutorial, I'm just going to load it on my Raspberry Pi where I'm running NodeRED. But you could, in theory, pull that information via HTTP request as well. But I'm not going to do it because if the calendar isn't set to public, you won't be able to do the API requests without the authorization, etc., etc. So if you just want to get that information into NodeRED, it's the quickest way to do it via file. Obviously, you're not going to benefit from synchronization of this, but there are also nodes that take care of this if you want to get just a query from API call from Google Calendar. So how would you approach this? Now, obviously, we want this to be split into a separate event. I want to have a list or an array of events that's going to happen. And for each event, I want to have something. Now, you have to, early on, before you approach the problem like that, you have to figure out how you're going to split this data. In here, even though I have empty spaces in here, the ICS isn't like this. ICS is like connected, so there is no empty lines in here. So I could split this by begin and then the event. That would give me an array in which I would have whatever is in here from one begin event to another. But that will cause me problems later on, and this is not the greatest approach, because what you can do is actually a little bit cleverer. We can read this file line by one, because each line is going to have a new type of data, and evaluate it. And we can then start evaluating a first event based on that sequence. So we can start this to open. Okay, this is our event starts here. And we keep on adding these lines until we hit this. That way, for each event that we have, we're going to start generating our entries and processing them. Also, we're going to try to take that date, and there's the beginning here. We're going to try to take that date and convert this date into a object, date object, so we can extract any information we want from it. So let's start. First, we need to save the file and upload it. So I'm just going to connect to my Raspberry Pi. Right, I'm just going to copy this. I already was playing it in the past, so I know my birthday text, because I was using a birthday calendar to do it, but I figured, you know, it's probably not wise to expose people's birthday with their names, so I'm going to use that on random events. Plus that event text, yeah, sure. Let me grab one of these. It's nothing. test. Yeah, I can do. So if you want to play, this is one of the text events you can do. Oh, it's too long. Guys, it's too long. I'll split it somehow like this, maybe. X. Well, Google is horrible. Like the chat is horrible. You would have to separate them by lines as well, because those are new lines in here at the end. So let's go back to here. I've closed it. Yeah, it's not right. Okay, so we already have this. So we will start with the inject node because we're going to be doing an action. Then we have a file. So we want to read this file, right? And in read file, we can obviously select the file, and in this case, it's home I day txt, right? And that was our file. Now, you could load it as a single string, but you probably don't want to do it because that will destroy new spaces. What you want is to read this message as read this file as one message per line. That way, you'll go over individual lines, like in here, and each time you read the line, it will produce your message for NodeRED, and that's going to be so much more useful. So yeah, we have this. So now when I show you this, right, so let's have a debug in here. When I deploy this and try it, you'll see several lines in here for every single line that I have in the file. So that's what happened, right? So those are individual lines that we have. Okay, so far so good. We imported some stuff into NodeRED. It's not usable just yet, but look, we have a very simple way of actually addressing this because we can see what is that line and we can do something. So if I was, for example, looking at what is this event? Where's this name? Suffolk. Oh, if I wanted to check and assign the name of that event, then I could already look at this and say like, oh, this is Suffolk bonfire. Great. Okay, so let's deal with it. For this, we're gonna do some programming, unfortunately, or fortunately, but I'm gonna be explaining as I go along. So we're gonna start with the function node. There's a couple of things we want to try. First, when our event starts, right, it will start with a specific thing. So let's capture our message. So our line is going to be one variable line, and that equals message payload. So this way, every line is going to be saved as a line each time it hits this node. So it's going to be multiple times, right? And we know for a fact it starts with this. So let's copy this. And we can use regex or regex to actually regular expression to match this. So to use a regex, let's define our regex. So we have a variable in here, and we're just going to define it like this. So we're going to paste it here. We're going to start it with a slash, and then because there might be a space, it looks like in here when you collapse it, then there might be a new line in here catching a new line. We have to make sure that we're going to allow splitting with extra characters, just in case, right? Okay, so we have our regex. This is what we're going to be looking for, right? This and extra characters, if there are any spec characters, multiple. This is extra one character with a dot, and a star means the multiple of these dots. So whatever on that line, this is going to be our starting point, and that's how we're going to start capturing. Now, when we're capturing this, or when we want to match it, what you have, there is a function in JavaScript which is called test. So we can take this regex, let's gonna call it regex1 because we're gonna use it multiple times. So in order to match it, let's check. So if our regex matches, sorry, it's called test, not match. And what we're testing against, our regex, we're gonna test against our line, right? Because that's what. So we're gonna see, is this inside the line? And if yes, it's going to be true. And if that's true, then obviously our if is true. So it will do whatever's in that function. So in this function, what we want to do, we have to decide what we want to do. We want to start capturing that information. So how are we going to capture it? Now, each time, right now, it won't do much, right? Each time there is a line that's going to fire, send a single line, and that function will happen. So next time it hits, obviously it's not going to acknowledge that. It's not going to acknowledge the second line in this, which is going to have a completely different value in it. So we'll have to have that in mind. But we want to start gathering that information until the end. So our end is, where was our end? That was our end message, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to start telling NodeRED when we want to stop capturing it. So we want this script to run through everything until it's so var reg end equals, and that's going to be exactly the same situation, right? All right, we have it here. Maybe we'll name it start. It's going to be a little bit easier. And then we're going to update this here. All right, so for the second part, it's going to be exactly the same, except this is going to be end. Yeah, we're still matching this against the same line. Okay, so now why am I doing this? I'm doing this because this will let me allows me to tell the NodeRED that I want to start here capturing everything into my bucket. Right, this event bucket is gonna has all the information, and when that information is basically over, when the event is over and we're ready to process another one, I want to get this bucket, dump it into our array, and save it. So when the next event comes, I want to start doing it the same way, and that way we're going to be processing this file line by line. We're going to be going like, okay, this line we're going to start capturing. Okay, what we're capturing this one, we're capturing this line, we're capturing this line, etc., 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 until here. And then here we hit reset, and then when there is obviously a next line of the new event, which is here, let's say, then we're going to start capturing this to a new bucket. So that's how it's going to work in principle. So in NodeRED, you have something that is called context store. Now, context, you can, if you're new, you can think about it. It's a variable or like a safe place that you can save information, but it only gonna apply into that function. So no other function's gonna have access to it. I could use a flow context for this, but honestly, because everything's going to be stored in that and then sent to a flow context, I can use just that space, that single flow to kind of keep it together. So let's do just that. Where is this? So we have to set that context first. So let's do it. So we're setting a context. Let's name it event. And at first, we're not going to really store anything in there, so we just create empty object in here, right? So that's it. That will tell us that we're going to save some stuff in there, and everything that we're going to collect, we're going to be sending to that. Okay, so what are we collecting? Let's make some space. So this is start capturing. Okay, so what we want to collect, let's take a look at the file and see. We want to definitely collect this, right? So we want to capture this line. So this line is going to have this one as our regex. So let's use this, because that's a unique value. So you can quickly see, I can simply just copy this, right? Paste it, and then replace my regex max, and then we can call it, let's go by numbers, it's going to be quicker here. So this is our first capturing area, and this is event start. Right. Now we need to change this one. So what we're going to do, we're going to also set our context, but not just yet. So right now I'm just going to delete this because we're not going to need it. So when our line matches this, right, we want to take this line. And let's take a look what's also is in here. So you can see we already know what is that type of the data in here, but we're only interested in this. So if you want to cleanly extract these numbers in here, you could probably split this line into two by using column. So if you use a column, your value is going to be split in here, and you're going to end up with value 1, which is going to be this, and value 2, which is going to be this. So that's going to be quite useful. So let's do that. Now, to split a string, there is a function called split, and that's what we're going to do. It's very simple to use. Hello, Taika, how are you doing? So we're going to be splitting whatever is in a line. So then we have to start something. So let's call it var line split, and that's going to be equals to our line dot split. And what we're splitting by? We're splitting by column. We want our line to be split by column. Now this will turn this, the split will turn this, what's it called? A line into an array with 2 elements. Element 0 and element 1. Element 0 is going to have this, because that's going to be our first element. And element 1 is 1 is going to have our value that we need, so we can store this value. Okay, so let's do that. Let's capture this. So what we want to do is context text set, and in my last live stream I discovered I can do this event and access actually particular bits of that event. So I want start. That's where I want to save it. And then obviously we want to have the second element in that array, which is line split, and then array index 1. That's the second element. And that will help us store this where we want it. Okay, so we it's kicking off about it. I've missed something, right? Equals split. Column. Because I forgot to column. Okay, so I'm very well. Like I said, Friday, I could not wait to get to Friday. Last Friday I was in down Suffolk, so that was 11 hours of driving, and I had an absolute blast. I'm gonna post a video this weekend. But yeah, I felt like someone just pulled the rug from underneath me, and now I got to enjoy my weekend a little bit different. So I'm good. How are you doing, Vlad? In Redx, dot is not matching new line by default. Use the flag to allow match new line. I don't want to match the new line itself, so I think it's gonna. Well, we can check it, but I think it's gonna work with the dot, because I'm not concerned about what's after this really. I just want to start this, and I want to. I don't think we have a new line after this. No, any new line that's going to be on the end, and we are at this point we done with the matching. So that sounds all right. Okay, so let's continue. So that should catch our date, and now let's test it, right? Let's just see what's going to happen. So we need a protocol of saving this, basically. So what we want to do, since at the end of the event, we want to get everything that is set in that context, so we can get this information. So let's go var current event, right? So our current event that we are collecting data, it's going to be everything that is in context. So context dot get, and we are getting events. Event. All right. So we want to collect all that information that we stored so far, right? And then we want to deposit that information into the array. So we need an array. So let's create ourselves an array. So var o. So we have we have a nice clear array in here. Can I do it in here? No, I probably don't. I want this to be created once. I'm gonna run it on start. So I'm gonna have no, not yet. That's fine. Hold on a sec. What I need to do, I need to have in here already ability to send information to my flow, but I'm not sure whether flow is going to exist. So let's create a flow. So I need a flow flow store context set. Let's call it all events. Okay, and we're just going to set it once with an empty array. Okay, so that's going to be only set once when we deploying this, and we're going to forget it. And that way it's going to be waiting for us empty, and we're not going to run into a problem. You could have a if conditions that if this is undefined, then create one, but that's basically what it does. So once we have this, we can do this. We can pull the information from that. So all events equals flow get, and then that was events. So if there is no event, obviously that's going to have just an empty array. But if there are any events, they're going to be already stored in here. And then we have to add our current event to that list. So in order to do it, you can do all events dot push, and what we're pushing into that array, current events, right? Current event. Okay, wait, complain and already define. Or where they define it? Up here. Do I have to define it? No, I don't have to define it in here. Okay, so we can, right. And then once we updated it, we need to save it. So flow set, what's it called? Events, and then all events, right? Alright, and that should create as a array with all dates of things that are starting. So let's give it a quick test, right, and see what's going to happen. So I'm going to disconnect this one from here, going to connect this here, and see if we've made any mistakes. Line 27. 27, I have a mistake. No, looks good. Missed something? 26. Context get. Thank you very much. Okay, so line 12, we have an error. I've misspelled it. What else do we have? Where else do we have errors? Well, looks like we might not have an error. So let's have a look and see what happens in my context though. Now, to see what's in context, you have to select the node you want. So if I'm going to click in here and refresh it, it's going to be nothing. You need to select where context you want to look it up. So you see, I have a object, one event that has a start date, and that's fine. We already did this. It's there. We can actually continue with this. This is good logic. Now let's see if my flow has been set. In my flow, I should have several events with random dates. So we have 4 different objects for 4 different events that I have in my file, and I should have the 4 different dates. So this is 2017, 2021. All right, this is empty, didn't have it. Okay, this is another one, and this is another one. So object second one, the third one didn't have a date. Let's have a look and see if that was the case. So let's scroll up. This is 1, this is 2. Okay, so this one didn't have a date. Remember when I said that I've taken this one, was it a colon, and split it? Now it couldn't split this because indeed this one was an exception. Interesting. But this one, however, have 2. So we'll need to investigate this in a bit, because the rest of the work, is it like an old event or something? No, 2021 11/9. Tea Time London. Has formatting changed, or this is okay? We're gonna go back to it in a second. Well, let's continue and see how we can actually figure out this one. So let's go back to here. Yeah, Taiko, I didn't know about that either until I kind of well, about the context I knew. I didn't know you can add particular parts of the object that way. So yeah, okay. So let's keep on working where we were. So this is a start. Let's have an end, because probably you want end date as well, right? So this is exactly the same way. End, and let's take a look at how does it look like in here. So the DT end, that's what we're looking for. Yes, okay. So let's do that with DT end. Let's create two views. So we're splitting by the same symbol and everything here, and that's going to be saved as the end. And great. Yeah, that's okay. That's just advisory. You can leave it as this. It's not going to cause any problems. What else we want? Because right now we have a method. We're going to be repeating this. We want probably a event and summary or title. Title sounds better, right? So our title is actually summary. So let's use summary for this. Where's this? So this is summary. Excellent. And we're going to be having like 3 here. And we're going to have like 3 here. We're splitting by the same thing. And we're going to title, because it's a little better than summary. Summary kind of sounds like description. And we're going to do event description. And how was the description in here? Description was just description. So let's take a description. Go back, description. There you have it. We'll leave it as a description, maybe like this. Description. And that's 4. And there is one more thing that we probably want, which is our rule. We're going to use the rule. If there is a rule, we're going to use the rule. So event rule or repeat rules. That's going to be difficult. Rule and 5. That's great. And let's take a look how this looks like in here. If there is no rule, the rule not going to be set. That's fine. But if there is a rule, where's the rule? I've seen the rule somewhere. Here, our rule. So we're gonna get this, our rule, and we're gonna use this. So let's do that. Rule. Okay. Do I have everything? All right. Do any of the summary values contain new lines or descriptions? Well, that's the way we can test it in a moment. We're going to create some new events and see how bulletproof it is and how it is being, set in there. Okay, so now, if I run this and save this, if I run this, I should have all of these updated with all the entries from calendar. Let's give it a go. So that's been done. Let's check it. There we have some information in here. Oh, look at this. Title, test, Wednesday. There's some rules to repeat and some dates. And let's refresh our object and check the object. And oh, look at this. There's a publish Amazon remote. Oh, that was like 2017. One of my posts that I've queued up to remember that I should publish that. That's it. And there's a Suffolk bonfire, and look at this, it's just beautiful. Now we have a bit of a problem in here with these, but we're gonna deal with this. We're gonna deal with this in a second. But looks good. Yeah, it looks it ends with a new line, but right now it's not a massive issue. We'll see if that's gonna bother us in a second or not. But it looks good. But in order to actually have the date as a workable solution, what we have to do, this is a string, and we want to have a date object. Why to have a date object? A date object is cool because it tells the computer that this is a date. It tells us this is a specific date. And then when I ask the computer, hey, is that date Tuesday? The computer will tell me it's Tuesday. It cannot tell me that from that string, but from the object itself, I can do a lot of things. I can take the date object, add 90 days, and it will spit out the date, and it's going to be like this. Now, if you try to add 90 days to a string, then you'll have to separate the strings into months, days, and years, then do the calculations, see which month it is, then figure out how many. You get the point. So this is why we're going to use the object. So let's do that, right? Let's make sure that we have now, because we're gonna do the object for every single date. It makes no sense to do it on every line. You just write a function. If you have to repeat the same operation 2 or 3 times, write a function. Function basically is a piece of code that you're gonna repeat. So let's start with the function. We're gonna see. Let's call it in a very creative way. Make date object. Beautiful function there. And that function gonna take a parameter. So we have to pass something to function. Function needs data to work with. And we're gonna like string time. Right, that's our parameter. Because our date in here is a string, and it contains a time or date, and you can whatever. I'm gonna use it as a string time. Now it's a string, and so far, apart from those awkward ones, although awkward one works too, this string has been formatted in the same way, right? So looking through here, you will start with a year, followed by a month, and then followed by a day. So let's do that. So we know that if you want to get year, we would have to select the first 4 characters, right, from this. And to do that, we could probably use slice it's called, right? So let's string time dot slice. How are we slicing? Well, you have to set up the first. In this case, we want 4 characters, so we're gonna start with 0, character number 0, and we're gonna end with the after 4th character. So that's how you slice it. Now, if you want to do the same for a month, the month are 2 characters. So for the month that has a single digit, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. So the month is that month equal string time. By the way, if you want that help, this is control. It's control and space when you start typing. I'll give you that this help. It's very helpful to avoid spelling problems. Slice. And this time we're slicing from 4th to 6, because it's going to end up 1st, so it's 6. Right, so that's our thing. And lastly, we want day equals string time slice. And we want to start from the 6th character, and we want to end on the 8th, 9th character, right? So 2 more, like, yeah, 6, 7, 8, yeah. And that should give us our date. Well, it doesn't give us a date just yet. It gives us the ability to tell us a year, month, and date. But we can set a new date. So now we can do let new date equals new date object. That's our object, and we're gonna pass our year, month, day. But there is a problem, and I know there's a problem because I had this experience in the past. Now, it's a very counterproductive problem because a day, it's just day. Month, well, it's a problematic one. And year, when you're passing it, it's fine. So what is the problem with the month? The month is 0 index, which means that January is 0 and December is 11. In order to combat that, you have to basically pass it correctly, and that means that you have to offset it by -1. And then we're just going to return new date. Okay. Now, that should be handled according to current time zone that you're in. Now, I know there might be events that are in a different time zones, but that's going to be complex. And right now, I'm not even jumping to this. So for now, we're going to a bit easy. We'll cross the bridge when it comes to problems. Right now, I just want to move as much as content possible, so you could have a bit of a idea how to approach the problem like this. So now that we can do our calculations in order to get this, so what you can do is just add this here and make sure this function applies to our date, right? And our date in here again, add this in front of it and applies to what was our date. Let's see how that worked out and where we made mistakes. I'm just gonna clear this, and okay, there was a bit of a problem to put up. Cannot read property slice of undefined. Okay, so that was one that didn't have a date. That's, I remember why we would have this. But let's have a look and see what our contexts are telling us. So let's refresh this. Now, you see, we have it nicely formatted. Now let's verify that this is actually the date. So the first test Wednesday one, you should have 21st, 11, 12. Okay, let's verify this, that we did. Okay, the first event was, is it the last event? There might be a last event actually. 21st, 11th, 12th. See, that offset for the month helped us, otherwise we would end up with something else. If you don't believe me, I can just do this, run it, and you'll see that we're gonna end up with a problem. So, did I run it? Let's see, I'll run it again. And now when I do this, if I refresh this one, and that's our last one, right? And check the same object in here, you'll see this is a 2017 December for the first event. What was the first event? 2017 11th, because the months are actually indexed from 0. And don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. No, I've spent some time actually with this in the past. Okay, so we have that sorted, right? So this is actually a string. It looks like a string, but this is a full object that we can manipulate. So that way, if you pass that as a new date, you'll get access and say, like, I can add it. What? Like, I don't remember. Do you want to find out what was this day? You can easily do it now. I can do it like this, right? If I wanted to add, for example, in here, where are we getting this? We were getting this here on the event start. If I wanted to save the day, I could do context, text, set, and then do event day. Let's see, day. I could say, figure out what was 27. You can use the time and you can use the time and see what day of the week it was. I'll tell you in a second without looking in here. We know that our date is gonna be this, right? So this is our date. So I can take this and say day, let day equals get day, if I remember correctly. That was the function. Let's double check. JS get day. Yeah, it was get day. That's fine. Was it? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I can get this, and that should work. So that will tell me which day of the week each day was it. Just note that the day is going to be also from 0 to 6, not from 1 to 7. So if it's 2, it's probably first day is first day 0 is what was it say? Sunday is 0. Okay, yeah, so Sunday was 0. So let's have a look. Let's run this, refresh this, and if everything, day 1. So 27, 11, 13, that was Monday, is it? Let's have a look. Calendar, and that was 2017. Can I like jump into the date somehow? Hello, calendar. I can't remember. Okay, what day was it on 2017, 11, 13, right? Monday. We did it right. Yes. So now, why am I so excited about this? I'm so excited about it because, as I said in Remarkable script, the generator, you'll be using these days to set specific events that happens every Monday or every Monday of January or etc. So that way, if I wanted to add something that happens in here on 3 Mondays or something, I'll have to produce 3 events. If I wanted to happen something to happen every Monday throughout a year, it's just a single, excuse me, because it's just a single line. So that's why I'm super excited. Now, I already know that looking through my birthday, that's 170 or 180 different events. So typing just that out, so I could have them in my custom-made Remarkable calendar, it's going to be problematic, or it's just going to be time-consuming. I reckon even with all that programming, it's going to be quicker to do all that NodeRED and so I could, than actually type it in manually. Although, to be fair, it's been 55 minutes. If I'm really good at typing and looking up, I could be pretty quick with it. But that is the plan, and it gives me great opportunity to interact with you guys, and maybe you'll teach me something and give me great hints and correct my spelling and stuff, and maybe you'll also learn a thing or two in return. So now that every single day has an event, it's ugly, this, isn't it? Let's make it, but it's practical. So let's maybe add extra function in here, which will give us a index, which is going to be very practical, but also might give us something that we can kind of like human readable. So let's do function. What day is it, right? And we're gonna take a day, and we're gonna take we use the day, so we need to do like maybe a day index. And what we're gonna do, we can have a switch case, switch statement. Never remember the spelling of it. Switch statement, yes. It's very easy. Yeah, that's the one. See, like this. So I'm lazy. I'm just going to copy this, and so we can switch expression is going to be this, and then case 0, case 1, and we're not going to have a default, but we're going to continue this until we have 7 in total, so up to 6. I think like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more. Okay. No, that didn't work. Okay, we'll fix it. So 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm glad JavaScript isn't case sensitive. So this is our Saturday. So we have, I don't know, day of the week equals let day of the week equals Sunday. And we're just gonna do this for each day. Monday, Tuesday, where I never remember how to spell Wednesday. Wednesday, I think. Is it? Is it how you spell your Wednesdays? Oh, not like this. Okay. See, I never remember how to spell Wednesday. Did I spell it correctly? Thursday. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Saturday. Is it nice? Nice, okay. And then break case return day of the week. That should work, I guess. Maybe. please use an R instead of switch case. Well, this is the thing, right? There is a best way of doing things, and there is a interesting way of doing things. When you have tutorials, the more different examples you're gonna cram into handling things, the better for people. Even if they're not the most optimal way, it's gonna work. So it's gonna be fine. Yes, I can do the let's define if this annoys you. It'll have absolutely no influence over it. It will work because of the break. So don't. But we have unmatched. Oh, why did we break this? This way here we break this. Yes, okay, this way. That's what's supposed to happen. Okay, right. Now, if all goes well, we should have an extra information here, which basically is gonna take our day is we want to duplicate this, and we want to day name, and we're gonna name it day name. Excellent. And then we're gonna make our name equals what we have in here. We have a what day is it, and the index of the day. Right, this. There you have it. Excellent. We have this. We have this. Let's try this. Let's try this and see what I broke. I broke something because I'm not getting into anything in the debug. Did I press the button? Yeah, I definitely broke something. Okay. Is it breaking? No, it shouldn't. It should break only from here. I definitely broke something, guys. Let me get some. Well, I'm not teaching about programming. I'm teaching to how to approach the program. There is no like. It's one of the things is there is no bad programming. If your programming ends up with a code that works and it's good, that's simple enough. Let's face it. You are running NodeRED on Raspberry Pi 4 for majority of the cases, right? Which means you have virtually infinite resources to run Raspberry Pi 4, and as long as you don't chug it, then the code is success. And yeah, you can say like, okay, this is not the best way of doing it, and I'll agree with it. But it only matters when your resources are at, um, they're not at liberty, and you have to code according to resources. But that's not the case. So I can be really free with my code and what I'm doing. Plus, like I said, I have no education in programming whatsoever. So I'm using what I know, what I'm feeling comfortable with, and that's it. No, Steve, I will disagree with you on that. There is no bad programming because if you say that someone wrote something and well, I will assume that it is working, right? If we're gonna assume that you've made a code, you've got the results you wanted, and you're not going to use the hardware for anything else, then honestly, as long as you get the results you wanted and you don't get problems caused by exceptions, your code's fine. You can say that it's not based on whatever, I don't know what it's called, convention, or someone else going to have a harder time looking the code and saying like, okay, this is not what I've learned at school. And like, yeah, okay, you can make that arguments, but it's not a question of bad programming. You are solving problems, and if the problem's solved, that's it. That's all it matters. Well, you can be the developer for 35 and 37 years, and I'm not going to deny that, and I'm not going to say that your code is worse than mine. What I'm going to say, you are programming in your own way, and you solve the problems in your own way of doing it. But let's face it, when it comes to outcome, that's all it matters for most of the people that hire programmers to get an outcome they need from the challenge they have posed, and they want to get results of it, and that's what it matters. And like I said, when you have at your disposal, I have a Raspberry Pi 4. I don't really care about whether my code's gonna run 3 times slower than yours because it won't matter at this point. Same. Why would you be okay? Right? Tell me a logical argument. Why would you be upset about this? Because this is one of the things I do not understand. Because it sounds more like gatekeeping than encouraging people to do it. If you want to, for me, if someone wants to get into programming and home automation, something, it's all about solving problems, right? Solve a problem, enjoy it, and that's the most, I don't know, important way of doing things. This is the principle of this. You are solving a problem. You solve the problem, great. If you just gonna stand with someone over someone's head with a big wooden ruler and slap the wrist every time they make not enough, what's it called? Tabulations in the line because the code doesn't look neat like I did in here because my cases aren't organized yet, etc., etc. You're discouraging people from programming rather than encouraging it. So that's my take on it. Right, back to it. Let's figure out what I broke that it didn't work and what was the problem, because that's the fun of it. We didn't pass. Did we get anything in here? We didn't get anything from my message payload, which means a message bit wasn't issued. Not. Let's have a look. We only added stuff in here, and we did this as a new thing. So we have a problem, obviously, with handling this in a way. So the break statement should break only from here. It shouldn't break from entire entire code. So what stopped? Do we have a spelling problem? Function, and then the index. We're using the index, switch the index, and then we have cases in. I'd rather have someone document better what they made, and that was supposed to be. Like here, this is a medical company. I don't hire hackers. Well, this is the thing. I'm explaining like one of the things I'm doing. I'm explaining why I'm doing certain things as I go. Plus, I'm showing you what is the problem I'm trying to resolve. Like this is the thing. It's very unlikely that a lot of people are just following this gonna have like put a hands up on the chat if you have a remarkable device. That's basically the core problem in here. You came to see how you can achieve certain things in NodeRED, right? So you probably don't have a remarkable device. You probably didn't hear about reCalendar before, and you probably not come across this particular problem, which means what I'm doing right now on the screen is completely relevant to you as a project. Which means all the undocumenting and stuff like that, all of that, it's completely relevant to you as a complete ready material. So it has nothing to do with that, right? We can agree on that. Which means that whatever I'm doing on the screen, all the mistakes I'm going to make, all the different approaches I'm going to use, is going to be more beneficial than the project itself, because you just want to get, okay, if I ever had this problem, I could solve this one. Or if I ever had this problem, I remember this guy online that was running this live stream ran into this problem and I couldn't figure it out for like half an hour. And that's going to be the most useful part of it, isn't it? I still don't understand why the week starts on Sunday. I don't know, honestly. It breaks a weekend into 2 bits, I guess. That's the only thing. So, what have I done? Getting back to the context set, event day name. So I've changed that. That's context set, and the day name is a new variable. It's fine, and I'm using day to calculate it. So it's probably crashing in here. Let's see. Node warn. I got this far. My favorite way of debugging stuff, leaving comments. That's another thing you're gonna get shouted at by programming, not using the debugger correctly. So bear that in mind. But in a sanctuary of your own home, you are allowed to do it. So if you do the node warning, here now we have it, and it has already declined. Okay, so then so is it because of this? No, it's just okay. Is it because of this little thing? Day of the week. I thought I gonna get away with this, but apparently not for switch cases. Okay. Okay. I've used that before in switch cases and don't remember. Okay, that probably was it. Right, you can see in here. Yeah, see, you got this far. The code executed, which is good news. So let's see if we have a proper days in here. So what we have, it's a Monday in here. That's great. We only have 6 Saturday. Yeah, that works. Look, for my purpose, I'm not going to need this because I just care about this index in here because that's what I'm going to use in my configurator. But that's obviously optimal if you just want to throw it again. So that shows you that this in here, this is your date object, and using a date object in here. Where's 3? You'll be able to use all those methods in here and return awesome things about your date. So this is a complete object, and everything in here is going to work. So if you ever need to recalculate the time zone or do something else, then that is your object in here, even though it looks like a string. So that's why I was doing it this way. So now I can play with this. Now, when it comes to translating this, now I have an array which I can work with. Now, for each array, I would need to get a information about my for my config. So in here, this will show you how your things should be formatted. Right now, I'm just going to focus on special dates to kind of show you how you would create this kind of structure. Let me have a look at the chat because we started the discussion. So normally I first make it work, I clean up afterwards. That's exactly like how I do it as well. That's one of the reasons I said, like, right now I'm explaining my thinking, I'm explaining my mistakes, and I think a lot of people will find it a little bit more useful than just looking at the code. Like, I could just copy and paste this and leave you with this and let you figure out this is a proper way of annotating PHP, right? But if you never programmed before, hacked anything before, you're gonna sit in here and stare like, okay, but what is it? And that's the point, to show you the live session. That's the point of me sitting here and going through mistakes, making silly errors and stuff like that. So you kind of like feels like, yeah, I can produce a little bit better looking code and a little bit better running code, but at the same time, I'm a human. It's programming is fine. It's a puzzle. I get into mistakes, and I'll encourage everyone to try because it's for humans, and you don't have to have 60 years of programming experience to write code. You can have fun with it, and that's what matters. Don't deal with hobby developers or projects. Well, like I said, it's like I'll never go to work and say like I'm a developer, because I'm not, and that's one of the things. I do stuff that kind of solve a problem, and that's what I'm interested in. I want you to solve a problem. I want someone else to solve the problem, and if my write-ups help someone solve the problem, make it work, I have achieved my goal. At the same time, I'm not trying to make them into developers as well. I just want to make them into be open and more adventurous in trying things, and stepping outside of the comfort zone. And like I say, I think the fact that you kind of said, like, slapped me on the wrist and said like, this is bad programming. Yeah, that's fine. That's what it is all about. It's supposed to be bad programming on my part, because I think people are scared of sharing their practices and sharing their code online, especially makers, because they feel like their code is imperfect. And it doesn't matter. As long as you enjoy doing it and you've achieved your success. That's all it is to it. Info, there is a catch node that catches all the errors thrown by nodes on the same tab. I've never used it, actually. We should try this. I've never used the catch node. Let's have a look. Ah, you mean the from a palette manager? That's what you mean, is it? Oh, do you mean? Let's have a look. Can you, Vlad? Could you? It's gonna be no. It's here, right? This one. Okay. Let's try this. I've actually never ever used this. I always use the message payload, and I don't think it's gonna deploy anything now. But see, there was one error there because we have a bad split, right? So we should be able to get this. Yeah, looks like we didn't have any error this time around. No, that I can see. Okay, we're gonna keep it here and see what's gonna happen. Okay, so now that we have some, let's take a quick look to our context data again. Let's refresh this. Oh, I've duplicated objects now. Excuse me. I shouldn't be duplicating objects. The one way to do it is to do this. Redeploy it. And that will wipe the array from me. And that will do this trick. Quick and dirty way. You can obviously clean up the array and make sure that at the beginning of this you will clean it up. But the fact is that I'm gonna only use it once, so I'm going to make sure everything works. I can handle all the quirky things from the calendar. And then once I generated it, I'm not going to use it again for a year, so I don't care as much for creating all those bypasses to kind of prevent the events from duplicating and stuff like that. In fact, I'm probably going to have, you could search quickly array and see for um, the same entries, and that will help you to remove duplicates from the calendar. Because when you're exporting a calendar in Google, if you have multiple calendars, for each calendar you're going to have a file. And then if you share those calendars across and you're exporting shared calendars as well, you might end up with the duplicate events. And yeah, we might want to look into removing the duplicates before we creating our log file, so we don't end up with duplicate entries on remarkable tablets. Right. Did you deploy? Yes, I have. If you ask 15 developers to write the same function, you'll get 15 implementations. Some, however, a better solution. Oh, I agree with you, Steve. And like I said, I've never said that my code's going to be, superb and anything else. But like I said, it's the reason it's being is I don't want people to be like. I remember when I started, and I was like, I even was scared of asking questions because what if I gonna ask a wrong question and then provide a silly example that is completely wrong, and someone says like, "This is not your problem." It's the last thing you want to hear as a person learning new tricks. Trust me. And I think one of the things that people forget is when they've been in a certain trade for many many years, they have this a slightly distorted perspective of how hard and difficult it was to get started with certain things. And if you don't believe me, go and try to speak Chinese now. Go and learn 3 words on Google to how to say something in Chinese, and go to a Chinese person and say that out loud and see how you fare. Okay, let's have a look. Doesn't catch all errors using a key from when you stack, only available to see debug error message. Won't catch it. I'd love to work with NodeRED. I'm learning, so as I go, what are you doing here? And the feedback in the chat give me some ideas to do stuff for non-programmers. Well, that's kind of the point. That's why I like running this, because like I said, like I want you to feel that I fail as well, and all the ideas aren't like when you take a look. One of the things I like to bring up as an example for this is my smart heating project, right? Smart heating project is 3.0. Now it's going to be 4.0 version I'm working on. And it started quite simple. Now it has this elaborate layout with quite complicated code underneath it, and you can import it yourself and check it out. And it has out. This is basically how it looks like, and all those function nodes are fairly robust. And now I'm trying to add in individual implementations for these, right? And trust me, when I started it, I would never think that I would be at this stage when I'm controlling individual rooms. But it essentially took me 4 years to get to this, and I built a block on block on block. And if you split all my work into a groundwork I did with the first iteration, and then I built a little bit on top of it, and I've added more sensors, and I started to manage the sensors, and I've integrated Alexa, and then room controls. And now I look at it as like, even me knowing that I wrote this, it's complex, it's complicated, and when I get back to it, I'm like, I get lost in what I'm supposed to do with this, and I have all the notes about it, and. But it all started like this. It all started with me making some silly mistakes and writing things and trying things and observing debug node and seeing what else I can do with it to make it work. So that's the taboo I like to break in those live coding sessions. It all starts like this. It all starts like, yeah, can we make this work? Is it feasible for me to spend another 5 hours on it, or should I drop this idea because either it's too complicated for me, or I don't think I can do it, or it's impossible to achieve this without throwing massive resources at it. So that's how it, how I look at this, right? JS to no for normal date functions moment is great if you use special things locales personality. We install more modern libraries. For the switch, I have to look at the alternative bit symbols. Right, so we want to generate some content based on that. So since we're gonna have this, we can either do it on a go, so we can continue from this node and trigger with the same thing. So let's go and create another function. So we're gonna be tweaking this both nodes as we go as well. Create events. All right, config. Right. I don't know whether I'm going to create entire config at once or just snippets to paste. I'm gonna be probably lazy enough to just to do snippets to paste, because that's all enough, and then just to compose the log itself, the config file in a notepad. So so let's see. What I have to do is I have to take this array I have in here, so my events. So let's get this. It's a flow. It's called events. Very creative, right? So we have the array now, and we're gonna play with it. For each element in the array. Yeah, that's JavaScript for. So we can do like. So this is a simple loop. So what we're doing here, basically, we're gonna take a new value, set it at 0, and for each time we have an element, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna make sure we're gonna iterate this as many times as we have objects in my or elements in my array. So in this case, we're gonna be 5 maximum. So each time we want to get some information from this array, right? So we want to create some sort of structure that is here. Let's get a sample of it. So that's going to be a simple date. So this is how it looks like. So in here we have a month and a day, and then we have a description with this notation. So we can create this notation using like this. Special date equals. Now that's going to be our string, which is should we be splitting this individually to strings, or I'm just thinking about the best way of doing this? Because I can bring the start date that we have in here easily, but the question is, do I want to? Because if I'm gonna just use that, I'm gonna get an int. Oh, that will work, because we later on we're gonna have escape characters, so that should combine everything as a string and should parse it automatically. So I think we're gonna be okay. So events element, which element I, and in element I we're gonna access the start, and that. So since we accessed this, we can then get our what we wanted. We wanted to get for this month. So our month's gonna be get month, I think. I think that should work. Now plus after month we have a dash in here. So let's do that. And then we're gonna have exactly the same thing, but we're gonna have with get date. Date is our day of month. Okay. Then after that, we have can I like squeeze it a little bit? After that, what we have this, right? So we're gonna have. Do we need to escape these? Oh, yeah, probably. So we're gonna start with these. Like that. And we're gonna add one here, followed by a space, followed by this, and then followed by this space, a single quotation mark, and then we're gonna add our description. So that's event I description. Yeah, is it even I description? Okay, that should, I think, work. That's gonna be the last thing. Now let's see if I have everything I needed in here, which is gonna be problematic. Ah, no, that's not end. We still need to add what's on the end, which is now in here I have, this is a okay, so it's escaping the character. That's fine. But I'm doing these ones, so I don't. Oh no, I have to escape it. If I want to just copy and paste it, then I have to escape this. So event description is going to be this. No, I don't have to escape it because that's going to be part of this description. Sorry, guys. That's me being silly. I'm just going to add this. And in theory, I'm just going to have to match all the pairs of my double quotes and everything to make sure everything is alright. Okay, let's have a look what we have in here. Convert date object first. Currently start is a string. It's not a string. In this form, it still acts as a date object. I can still do this like that, which I've proven on in the previous part. So it should just pull it okay, because the JavaScript actually allows you to get this and transcode it correctly. Confusing pluses. Okay, let's see. Now, do I have to pass it as a string first? So do we have a first stuff in here? Then we have this one, confused pluses are here. So we have like this. So that's correspond. Something disappeared in here. Why this one is in? How did that ended up in here? I've pasted it by mistake, I think. It's a special date like this. Okay, so we'll start with this. That's fine. Then we're gonna have get month. That's fine. And then we have a dash. Then we have a get date. Okay, I think that should work, right? And if I wanted to quickly check this, then I'll get message payload. Oh, even better, I can do node learn and then special date. And that, in theory, that should work. In theory, we'll see how correct or incorrect I am. Right? Okay, so these ones should be giving me the dates, but they weren't giving me the full date. So, all right. So, do we actually have to pass it as a new date object? Well, that's going to be extra step. So we're dealing with start only, so let's do this with start for now. Start equals new date, and then we're gonna take this one here. So other way around it didn't work, but the first way around it was working, and all you have to do is just replace this with like this. Okay, now hopefully it will keep its together. Let's have a look. Oh, still missing. Okay, let's get rid of the stuff from here that's kind of screaming in my face, which is this bit. That's okay, done. And remove this one so I don't get much traffic. See again what sort of... It's iterating too many times. That's my... because it sends a message payload in here. I didn't clear the message payload, isn't it? Let's clear message payload. Message payload. Okay, that should clear up my output a little bit. So I get the... Oh, okay, so... That happens. Wait, I know what's going on. No, I still have 5, right? Am I still? Yeah, I still have 5. Why am I iterating so many times in here? Events, yeah, so I have this many times. That's fine. That should iterate 5 times, and in here you iterated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's fine, but what is this? Why do I get this one? It's like it did it twice. I'm a silly bum. Okay, I know what happened. Right, so basically, because I was still triggering the message payload from here, and that would act on every single line, I would end up with 150 times triggering this one while my events weren't even saved yet. So that's what was the problem. If I trigger it here, yeah, now we can work with this. Okay, that's obviously this is the one of the exceptions we haven't handled yet. We wanted just to write stuff in. So I think we need to get that to string as well. So that was to string, right? JS. Yeah, it's just a string. It should parse it without problems, and double check on my time. So to get date, it's day of the month, and to get month set, yeah. Now we need to verify this if this is from 0 to 11 or 0 to 12, because I don't remember. But it's something I've got on my... Well, that should allow me to actually add things together, maybe, without... Hopefully. I hope. We'll see. No! No! I'm missing something. Let's have a look what my start is. Node 1 start. What am I getting? So if you're not getting a result you want, all you have to do is just plop one of these, all right? And then let's have a look. I should get invalid date on 1. On this one, I get correct date, so I'm getting a correct message object. So why my function's not... Okay, I either have to escape these, but I know for a fact that NodeRED likes double... Oh, in here, see? In here I had a good result in here. That's fine, I was missing something, so I have a problem with the description now. The description was null, and I'm missing some So this one, I'm missing one of the closing characters in here. That was one of the things. Like this. And this description wasn't set for it, that's why I wasn't seeing anything here. But I should be able to see the description now, I think. At least I really hope so. And I wanted to, we didn't want the description, we wanted to use title. We named it title, isn't it? Pretty sure we named it title. Yeah, we wanted title. Okay. Okay, let's have a look and see how's that doing now. To the month test. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're starting to get the results we want. This is the entry we would like to paste it, right? And in my here, this is how it looks like. So it starts with a single quotation mark and then ends with comma. Then we have this array kind of thing going on, and basically it looks like our output, right? Yeah, this is exactly how it looks like. So we are able now to generate these 4 big calendars. Obviously, we still have problems. We have not a number. That's what none means, which means we will have some problems with one of the calendars, and we need to figure out why this calendar was giving us such issues. Because let's have a look and see what was that. So time zone, and then give this one. And I don't exactly know why it gave us this one, and then later in the end it gave us a time zone, and then it gave us a time, date, and then this is weird because this is the first time I come across this actually. In my original one, you can see they all have these, right? In all my stuff. That's the date again. I can see that I have a time zone, so that's not a problem. But I don't know why we ended up with this. Did I set a different time zone for this event? What is the event called? The event called this month test. Let's have a look at my calendar and try to figure out what is causing a problem for this. Today. So month test. So this is a time that has a time frame which is specified by, it's not a whole day event, it's just a time, right? It lasts half an hour. It's at the event. It said the time zone is not changed. Let's have a look. Yeah. Cancel. So why it presents itself in such an awkward way when every other event it has? I would understand just have a time start and time end, but it's not like how it's really happened. It repeats a bit weekly, right, on Tuesday. But I don't like this. I don't know what that is in here. Like this is gonna be a times at some point, right? Because it looks like a 10 o'clock in here and 0 seconds, and then I have 10 third. No. 10. That's 03. That's not 10:30. So date is here. That's 10. Then 03. So that looks like. Honestly, guys, I am confused right now. I am confused why this is. It's 10:30 a.m. right? 23rd of November. Hold on a second. That's no, because it's gonna be. Maybe because it's an event that is in the past. So this is 9 of November. Let's have a look. This is a past event. Maybe that has some sort of different stuff going on when it's being exported. This one is on 21st 1109. Yeah, so this is event that was in the past. That's why. So it doesn't have a start date because it's in the past. So the end date has been the start date has been moved to the end, I guess. So it only shows you the time, but in here there's a couple of different things as well going on. We have a date in here which is 21st 1109 and lasts to 21st 11. no, my theory doesn't work. Oh no, hold on. Is it a new? No, this is a new one. For a second I thought it's gonna be here, and this is definitely the one we are talking about, right? I am confused about this, guys. I am confused. Try reopening file, maybe accidentally move path with the mouse. Okay, yeah, that might be a good idea. So let's go in here. Let's go settings. Let's go export. Exporting file. So this is my new file. And what is it called? It's called month test. So month test. Okay. Clearly I messed up something because it's not like it's just a one. So month test. No, I have this one in. No. This is old file. This is a new file. Month test. Find the correct documents. Not this one. I wanted month test. Find all in current documents. Yeah, just one instant. Yeah, looks like I've messed up, guys. Oh, that's nice. Because thanks for letting me know about this. It must have been a bad copy. So we are replacing. Where is it? This one. No, this one. Sorry. We're replacing here, which was this one. Interesting that I've kind of pasted this way. Like, look at this. That's simple now, right? And save it. Let's save it and let's run this again, right? That was a good catch. So now I'm gonna go here, refresh here, do this, and I should have. Okay, I have a. Because I didn't generate. That's my fault. They didn't generate this. Okay. So all dates now here right now. Oh, that looks lovely. And see? So now, if I was writing a file, we can do write file, and we could have home pi config txt. So add new line to each payload. Yes, okay, let's do that. Create a directory doesn't exist. Yes, okay. Append, override, append. We want to, yeah, okay. So we have a file. So now, if we want to send this, we would have to. There is a tutorial of made. Payload. See, you can find it quite useful. I'll add it here. Which scenario we need? We need a scenario in which I'm issuing these payloads, so multiple payloads. So that's how you handle it. You create a send multiple payloads So they're gonna be array assigned to this. So what I need to do is create an array of payloads and set that as my message, and then send the message. Okay, so let's do that. Because the problem is, I have a feeling that if I'm gonna do this and enter here, I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't think message equals special date. I think that's gonna do it once, and that's it, because it will exit. I don't think loop gonna have a precedence over this, and I'll have to just create an array. Well, let's have a look. Let's see if it. Yeah, I was correct. So that's what we ended up with. So I can't do it this way, because that would be easy, because then each time I operate, well, unfortunately, it's not as easy. But message payload, return message, right? And I want to return an array in which every message is going to be one payload. Oh god, so that's an array. And that will give me individual things. So I need to create an array. So in order for me to do it, I need to get something. Let's say message payload. No, let's create an array. So we need an array. Let's have it nice and empty. And now for each time we're gonna do array dot push special date. Yeah, cool. We don't need this. So each time we're going to populate our array, and then at the end of it, we're going to be. Will that work? Will that work? Or do I have to keep on playing with message? Hold on. Because that will be. The problem is that it's probably going to end up using a message object for writing, not array object for writing. But let's see if it's clever enough to figure out. I don't hold my breath for that, but we should see multiple payloads. Yeah, I need to put it. Sorry, I need to put it as object. That's. I thought that's going to be the case. So by default, we're gonna return message. I hate nesting arrays and message and object. It really does my head in. I don't have a spatial mind for this. I always struggle with it. Install iCal events for NodeRED iCal events. iCal events, I think that works with iPhone, not with an Android. Or that kind of works it for the because I've looked into that node, but that's not. That was for like delivering stuff from shared documents as an iCal. So you would have to get them from a link. But the problem with that is that I would have to make a calendar published and accessible. And I know you get like custom link to a calendar and stuff like that, but I don't really want to publish my calendars. So I wasn't feeling like doing it this way. Plus, then the tutorial wouldn't be as interesting. If I can just just install Node and it'll do it for you. Like, we're not going to learn anything that way, anyway. So what we're going to do now, that's going to be an array, and I need this array to be inside of the object. So message payload equals I know how to. I think that has to be a part of the message. Can I do it like this? Will that work? I don't know. Like I said, this is something I struggle with usually. Okay. I don't think that's worked the intended way yet. Let's quickly change this to entire object. All right. So we get stuff in here. Now, is that being written? Let's have a look. Let's open on the config. No, this is not what we're supposed to have. So there's only one thing that's missing in here. We just need to create. I know exactly what we need to do. I know how to do it manually. You just create different messages and you then put the messages as elements in an array, and then you submit them inside the array, and that will generate you a multiple messages. Come on, brain, work with me on this one, please. But in order to, because I don't know how many events I'm gonna have, so you can either create a for loop in which for each loop you would create a message in which you would have your payload structure, and that would then, but there is a simple way. I remember there is a simple way, and it's been ages since I did this, and each time I remember I forgot how to do it. What was it? There was an easy way to do it, and I'm like, because those, so each mess. Okay, I need to write it kind of in here so I could see it. So right now, our array has some elements, right? Our special date 1 and special date 2, etc. Right? Now our message right now is a single object in which object in which we have a payload, and the payload has to have the stuff we want to send, which is special one, right? And then we have to create this into a array, right? And have this array for every single time we have it here. So that array would can I swap this instead of pushing? If I want to send it as an array, instead of pushing that to array itself, the array would have to have a message with a payload, and then the payload is special date. So our special date would be like this. Okay, so I can use this here, and that would be pushed to my object. Sorry, that would be pushed into, that was a part of my message, which then would be pushed. So whatever it's gonna be here, so let's say AA equals this, right? And then I would be pushing AA here and returning array inside of the array. I think that's it. God, I hate this bit. Oh, yes. Yes, guys. Yes, that worked. That worked. I bet that worked. Config. Oh, look at this. It's beautiful. We have a space problem. We have a space problem, but it is it is working like that. No, I heard you. Sorry, iCalc. Yeah, I confused the iCalc with iPhone format. But yeah, iCalc is basically the online version of it. Now the problem with this, like I said, it's the sharing of the calendar. You would have to share the calendar to do it, but it's if you have multiple calendars, then it gets complicated. While export gonna take all your calendars together, and then you don't have to worry about it. So it's easier from that standpoint. Okay, so we only have an issue of the description or title having a space. And someone mentioned prior to that, I didn't ignore it, that we can use a trim function to do it. So if we jump back in here and look at our description, once we split it, we can trim this. So we can do split by this, and then this do trim. And let's have a look. What exactly does trim doing? Hello world, greeting trim. Removes white spaces. Okay, I guess. From both ends of a string. That's even better. It's not going to cause any problems in the middle. That was a brilliant call. Thank you so much. I knew we're going to be getting back to it. So since we are doing a trim on the description, let's do the trim on the title as well, because obviously we're using it on the title. And let's clear this. And let's have a look at our context. It's all good. And so let's populate the context. Before we run this one, let's clear this up and save it. Let's populate this. And then let's open the document again and see. Ha! Look at this, guys. That looks amazing. We can trim every import line. Yep. That's good. Trim import file. So let's, where was the import? You can do this, right? Trim. And then we can delete trim from here. Awesome. So that way we're running it at the beginning and it's much cleaner, right? So let's do it again. Let's have it here. Save this. And run it. And then when I open my notepad, reload it. Oh, that's just gorgeous looking, this. Right? That's just gorgeous looking. So now this will work for calendars. So for calendars. This will work for birthdays. So if you have birthdays, they all take 1 day. And you'll be able to generate the birthdays and add them to calendar. So let's should we try to do it properly? Can I generate a birthday calendar without showing you stuff and then generate it in here? Let's see if I can do this. So I will go to my calendar. I will switch to my private calendar. I'm just gonna move it to the side. I will export it. You have to trust me, I'm doing this. I'll export my calendar with birthdays. Okay, I have some birthdays in here, you can see. And then I'm gonna select all of this, copy. Copy this to my birthday, so this is the one we're testing it. Delete, paste, save. Now, if I did it correctly, then in here I should have. Maybe let's make sure there's nothing in here, right? Okay, that's probably generated a lot of. Yeah, see, 167 entries. So now when I run the config, I'm gonna have some. I need to clear out the files. I didn't clear out this file. So let's I'll have a lot of birthdays here. I didn't do this one, so let's save a clear one again and regenerate this and go to my file for the config, and I should have lots of stuff. Now I have duplicates in there, but don't worry about the duplicates now, because those are duplicates from 2 calendars and I know about them because I never cared to clean it up. But now if you want to use that reCalendar, what you have to do is just open a configuration file. So let's create a actually I think I have a configuration file, so let's go to my desktop, go to reCalendar, and then go to reCalendar PHP configuration. I don't have a configuration file? Oh, yeah, okay, well, let's make a configuration file then. Let's make a new text document, which is local config.php. Yes, I want to change, and I want to open this. So let's open this with Notepad. Thank you. Now I want to take the default one, which was here. Let's copy this. Nicely done. Great. And then we're going to replace all the dates from here, right, with whatever was generated in here. So let's okay. Now question is PHP is PHP white space sensitive? That's the question. Okay. We're gonna find out in a second. Because I'm going to generate new calendar. So let's generate new calendar. That's gonna take a few moments, and if everything worked, okay, expecting close the. Okay, it looks like I had a bad copy or bad paste, which is fine. Which is not. I don't know if that's valid thing. That could be sensitive to spacing and stuff like that. Let's fix this real quick, or maybe let's kind of like. It should be like this, right? Is PHP case sensitive? No case sensitive. White space sensitive. Insensitive. Okay. So we only have a bracket problem in there, which we'll be able to quickly identify from config file maybe. Last element in the array shouldn't have a comma. I think that's what's causing a havoc right now. So let's see. No? Line 56 of the config, local config. 56. What am I missing? I missed some extra. And let's go to example again. Special date starts with open, this ends. No, it does have a comma in here, so it's not like JavaScript. That's fine. We're gonna fix this. It was complaining somewhere on 56. It was complaining straight in here. Why it's complaining straight in here? Looks like. I know why it's complaining. This is why it's complaining. I think it's complaining because of this. So we need to escape these characters. I bet if I'm gonna escape this, it's gonna work. So we need to have a way to escape the characters while we're doing this. Oh, and that's a messy progress. So it's probably, are we escaping him here? I think it's easiest to escape them in this area. Or when we get them. Let's have a look. There's escape characters. Is there a way of automatically escaping strings? JS escape characters auto. Automatically. Oh, look at this. I like this. We have a function which is escape. Okay, all right. I like this. This is lazy, but I like this. So what we need to do that when we, I think it here is going to be easier because we already have a line split summary. So it's going to be escape. Not here, sorry, lower. Here. I wonder if that's going to work. And in the description, escape is here handle. All right. Okay. So let's make sure we don't have any stuff. Let's deploy that. Refresh. We're gonna clear this. We have to clear my config file. Save it. Cool. And we can try to do it now. So we generate everything. Yeah. Now we have my object. We're gonna do writing to the thing. We're gonna open my config text. Reload. Oh God. Okay, I do not know if this is gonna work. Probably want to specify something because they were escaping special characters with a backslash, and now I have them encoded. Okay, function encode special characters with exceptions of these. Okay, I don't know if that's gonna work, but basically it might work. I don't know if it's gonna work, but there's only one way to find out, right? And let's paste this, save it. Something tells me we'll have to do it manually. Yeah. Okay, all right. So, well, the problem is that we're gonna escape certain characters, right? And to escape certain characters, we basically need to run them when we checking the lines. So we don't escape the stuff we don't want, because obviously we don't want to escape stuff that is at the end of the thing. So if we have a description, right, we don't want to escape any symbols from the end. Oh, right. Oh, it's after 11. Actually, I will have to leave this. Well, you know what the problem is, and I will think about proper solution for this, but I'll have to go because it's 11. I kind of was hoping to finish half an hour ago, but yeah, we got to the point where most of that was a success, and you could fix this with a notepad because notepad allows you to basically go through a config, select the space in here and whatever, and then replace the same character with escaped one, and that would work. Hopefully, it wouldn't override this one, but yeah, that gives you an idea how. But yeah, you can see that quickly I could now go through all my events and make sure those events are getting into my remarkable. So that is the kind of idea behind it. Now, if you're ever gonna get a remarkable, or if you want a generate a custom PDF calendar that starts on whatever day you want and have your events, and you can print it off or have it as on iPad or something like this. Like obviously on iPad makes no sense because you have access to Gmail. But I was trying to bypass it for my remarkable and get a really nice calendar with entries like this because you can add these ones. Yeah, come on, wait. Because you can add these ones, you can add stuff on like I think Thursday have that. Days I don't remember which one. Oh, you can pre-select these and then say like no lunch. I don't have a lunch today. I cannot have lunch at 1. Right. So obviously that's a very specific use for me because I have certain fixed schedules, and then when I plan my day, I can just go through all of them, and yeah, you can tell that I don't go to a therapy. But yeah, but that's basically the principle of why I was doing this, because this is pretty cool and it works on Remarkable, and I wanted to have a kind of this I can carry with me, check what's on there, and import all my scheduled things um, in into this calendar from the calendar, so I don't have to do it manually. And the process of generating this is pretty flexible, so you can add a lot of different things. So if you look at in here in that form, basically those are habits that you could track. So those are the tables that you could what is it? So those are habits you can track across the months. Then you have a weekly. If you switch to weekly view, I can show you how this looks like. So this is your weekly on your weekly screen. So basically, it looks like this. So on your weekly, you get this, right? So you can populate them, and those are gonna be appearing every week. So it might not be ideal for everything, but you can pre-plan certain things or delete them as I go. Now in here you've got day stuff. So day entry. So that will happen on second day, 21st day, and second day. I think. Let's have a look. Second day. Yeah, something I'm grateful for today. It's on the second day and on the 23rd. 21st, sorry, that's supposed to be 21st. No, sorry, no, this is the line on, sorry, this is the line per day. You can add stuff like that. And you can override that with different days of the week. So this is the day 2, day 3, and day 4 are going to have slightly different stuff. So for example, if you take a look at here, that's the third. Third is 1, 2, 3. It's Wednesday. Oh, it's Wednesday. So you have your 8, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock lunch and stuff like that. So this is on Tuesday. This is on Wednesday. This is on Thursday. You can override these. So that's these ones. So you can add them per day of the week, and then you can also do them in a kind of like a day-specific element. So it generates this, and it lets you interact with the PDF with a hyperlink. So when you click on stuff, you can just obviously go through the different days, different dates, different weeks, months. And if I'm on a view, can I go like this, like a, I don't know, 8th yeah, 9, and I can go to 9. So this is very useful for someone who uses a paper. Obviously, I don't have a tablet and I don't hate doing stuff on the phone because I never check it. But one of the things I'm consistent is actually using this device. So that was the principle why I wanted to do this. Right, it's been a pleasure. Hope you enjoyed me failing and succeeding and getting to the kind of end of certain things. So yeah, it's been quite fun getting there. I love puzzles and I always have fun. And once I kind of put a little bit more time with it, polish this, I'll kind of write a little bit more about it and make these tools public so you could take advantage of it if you ever gonna need something like that. Obviously, it's a very rare case scenario, and outside of the remarkable groups, I don't think anyone else would have an interest in it. But I hope you learned a thing or two, or how not to do certain things, or how to avoid certain problems that I run into. But yeah, like I said, next Friday I'm probably gonna do Tasker. It's been a while since I did Tasker, so it's been 2 or 3 weeks with NodeRED. So I think next time it's gonna be Tasker, and unless I'm gonna come up with something cool to show you in NodeRED. Right, as usual, guys. Thanks so much for um, tuning in and watching along. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the comments. Even if you just want to slap my hands for telling me how badly I code, that's fine. It's okay. Um, but yeah, I had fun, and I hope you do. I wish you a pleasant night, and you'll hear from me very, very soon in the next video. I promise. Bye.